All right, welcome back. This is going to be yet another video that hopefully you're going to watch before I teach the lesson. If not, you'll watch it after, like I've said multiple times. Basically, like you've caught on, hopefully so far at least. Mostly this is just me reteaching something. So if you missed it, this is great. You get a chance to hear it. If you need to hear it again, it's just another chance. Today we're going to focus on, as you can see, I've already got this set up here, and I just nice and labeled it for you, factoring, okay? This might be the most important thing I teach you all year, all right? Well, by now you should have heard me say this over and over again, but Chapter 5 is probably the most important chapter in the book. If you don't understand how to factor, you're not going to, well, you basically almost won't pass the whole second semester, okay? I said that all last year and no one believed me, and then people started realizing I was telling the truth. This chapter right here will be something that we will use in every single chapter and every section from here on out, okay? I'm going to teach you multiple ways of factoring. I believe there are probably 5 or 6 ways I'm going to teach you. We'll go slowly. We'll go through each one. I'm going to do a video on each type. This is going to be basic factoring. Okay, just the simplest factoring we can do. So we're going to jump right into this. Again, depending on when you've watched this, it'll either be a little familiar or brand new. Just depends. Now, I wrote 2 equations on here already, and I'm going to label some things real quick, okay? Because I want you to see what this looks like in standard form. This is A. Here's our B. And here's our C, okay? So we have A, B, and C. These are basically the letters. When things are in standard form, it's always ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? So now here's what you'll notice. Our A in this case, and for every one I do today, or for both of these, and for each of these style, A will always equal 1. Okay, again, there's an understood 1 here, so that's how you know to use the method I'm about to show you. This method only works when there is an A of 1, not a negative 1, but a positive 1. Okay, I'll show you in class how to deal with it when it's a negative. So we'll get to that another time. Okay, now here's the key to this. You're essentially going to take what this is called a trinomial, because there are 1, 2, 3 things here. All right, and our goal is to break it down into 2 binomials. Okay. 2 things that we can multiply times each other to get back to this. All right. I showed you how to use the distributive property already. Okay. Now we're going to basically kind of work backwards. All right. We're going to go from a trinomial up here down to a binomial down here. Now it's a real simple process. Okay. You're going to do the same thing every time. You're going to take A times C, and you're going to add to get B. All right. Now here's how we write this down to make it look a little easier. We draw a little factor tree, okay? And I'll write it out again, colors. So we got A times C, which must add to give us B. So our ultimate goal here are to find 2 numbers, whatever numbers those are, okay, that are going to multiply to give us whatever A times C is and add to give us whatever our B is. Okay, it's really that simple. It's a little factor tree. All right? So I'll write this one out, and this is real simple because 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, and we need them to add together to get where's the number? 4. Okay, so again, we multiply to get A times C, which is 1 times 3, and we add together to get our B term, which is 4. Now this is pretty simple because there's only 2 sets of numbers. I don't know why my screen keeps doing that, sorry. There are only 2 sets of numbers that multiply to give us 3. And you probably know this already. It's 3 times 1. And what does 3 plus 1 give us? 4. Very simply, okay? Now, here's a little trick I'm going to teach you, okay? And it's not a trick, it's just a fact. All right, whenever you have A equals 1, okay, you can always put X in the front of both parentheses, okay? So put X in the front of both parentheses. So in other words, look, you don't even have to think. You just simply automatically put X right there and there. Why can I do this? Because what do we have in front of our X squared term? An understood 1. Because there's an understood 1, I can just throw my 2 x's down, okay? Don't try to figure out why. I'll show you, okay? But just understand that. You put an X in the front of both of them, all right? Now, watch what's the next step, which is really easy, okay? I know I didn't number these, I guess this will be 1. Step 2 is plug the factors and signs into parentheses, okay? In other words, what I mean by the signs is, notice this is a positive 3 and this is a positive 1. So I have x plus 3, x plus 1. Okay? So, not too difficult, I don't think. Alright, now I'm going to show you a checking method, and this is what I meant by, this is really something backwards from what I've already taught you, okay? Because I don't know what chapter it is, but there's a chapter, again it's summer so I'm not really sure, but there's a chapter where I teach you how to do something called foiling, first, outer, inner, last, okay? In other words, first, outer, inner, last, okay? Now watch what happens when you foil this. You're going to get x squared plus 3x plus x plus 3. Combine these two like terms here to get x squared plus 4x plus 3. And what do you notice about this equation that we started with and what we ended with down here? Okay, you should notice they're the exact same thing. Again, that's the whole point of this. The whole point is to take this trinomial way up here at the top that we started with, okay? And to break it down into this down here. Right, now, see if I can get rid of these arrows here. That's good. Alright, again, oh, sorry, just so you're not confused also, this is your final answer, okay? You don't actually have to foil it. You can foil it to check if you want, but you don't have to foil it, okay? All right, now let's do another one again, just so you can see this one more time, okay? So, what we have here is x squared plus 6x minus 16. Now here's what you should notice. Again, we've got A, B, C. What you should notice is that A is an understood 1. When A is an understood 1, use the method I just showed you. It's the easiest method of them all. Well, maybe the second easiest, okay? So, now here we go. You simply take, just like we said last time, A times C. Alright, so we got a little factor tree up here. A times C is, notice I take this negative sign into account to give me negative 16. Alright? So we need to find two numbers that multiply to give us negative 16 and add to give us our B, which is going to be 6. Alright, notice not 6x, just 6. Okay, now, excuse me, most of you probably can do this in your head. I'm aware of that, okay? But I'm going to show you the long way to do this. Alright, basically what you can do, because some people can look at this and say, alright, I know the answers. Some people need to go through the process. So I'm going to show you the long process, okay? Do whatever works for you though. Now, some people don't do this well in their head, so my suggestion is just start with what you know multiplies to give you 16. So in this case, we've got 16 and 1, all right? Now, obviously, if these two numbers have to multiply and give you a negative, one's got to be negative. So you ask yourself, if I make this 16 a negative, is negative 16 plus 1 going to be 6? The answer is no, okay? So, see if I can get this to erase, there we go. So let's try a different sign. All right, notice, still negative 16 when you multiply it, but still not going to be 6 when you add them together. So these don't work. So we go on to the next numbers we know. All right, well, let's think. 4 times 4 is going to multiply to give us 16, right? Well, one needs to be negative, but here's what you should notice. Anytime you take negative 4 and 4, you're always going to add them to get 0. So doesn't work either. So we keep going. All right, what are two more numbers that multiply to give us 16? Oh, I know, 8 and 2, all right? Now, to make these negative, 1 has to be a negative number here. And here's what you can see. If you take 8 minus 2, you end up getting 6, and you also multiply to get your negative 16. So, these two numbers work, all right? And I'm betting most of you could have done that in your head in about 2 seconds, but I just wanted to walk through the process so you can see the whole thing, all right? So, now, since this is an a squared, since this is an a of 1, I already know, just like I put in step 1 up here, that we can go ahead and just put an x right in the front of both of these. Simply because the a is 1. That's all you gotta know. And the next step, throw in your numbers and their sign. Now I didn't mention this in the first one, so I do want to point this out. It does not matter what order you put these in. Okay? Oh, sorry, thing just jumped on me. There we go. X plus 8, okay? You can write it that way, or you could have written it this way, or written it. X minus 2, okay? So you could have wrote it either way here. Doesn't really matter. X minus 2, X plus 8, or x plus 8 times x minus 2. When you FOIL these, you get the same answer, okay? So this is the first method of factoring I'm going to show you. It's real simple, and here's the key again, all right? When a is equal to 1, that's the only time this works, all right? And again, this might be the second most important thing I showed you right here. That you take a times c and they add to give you b. That's how you find these numbers, like the 1 and the 3, okay? Or the -2 and the 8 like we did in the second one. All right, that little factor tree. Now we're going to use this factor tree again, so don't forget it. All right, as a matter of fact, in the very next video I'm going to show you, or I'm going to make for you, I'm going to use the same thing, okay? So please, if you've watched this, watch it again if you need to. Come ask me for questions. Come find me in the morning. I'm always there. Just, come ask me any questions you have. All right, thanks for watching.